Okay. Hello, friends, and welcome to ITSL Game of the Week here on Action Round Zero. With Pedro Riguera, I'm Justin Abramson, and today we've got a real treat for you out of the Amarillo division as Patrick Gong takes on Michael Stryker. Patrick has put together a heck of a season so far, opening with a sparkling 8-0 record, and he is one of just 6 remaining undefeated players in the Americas Conference. He's certainly got a lot to be proud of, but it's been said that unless you're the lead dog, the view never changes. And in the Amarillo division, and indeed the entire Twilight Struggle community, Michael Stryker is that lead dog. Coming in at 7-0 himself and with an iron grip on that number 1 world ranking, Michael is arguably the toughest of tough outs in the ITSL. So, Pedro, thanks so much for having me on the show today. It's an honor to be here, and I'm really looking forward to this contest between two of the game's elite.
Absolutely. Thank you for that little introduction. And like you said, Michael Stryker, it is in fact a top dog. Let's see if Patrick can pull it off. He's not lightweight either. Patrick is a really strong player. And let's see what you guys have in store for us. I see a red skirt and a purge for initial headlines. Chinese opening in the side of USA that has been countered with the goal. So very interesting start. Let's see. There's a quick. Oh, and a coup in Italy.
Okay, yeah, wow, we've got a quick Italy coup, and so Patrick is on the back foot in Europe early. And he is going to respond by putting one into Pakistan, one into Malaysia, threatening
Pretty
Thailand, threatening
standard.
multiple Asian battlegrounds. Yep, standard response.
In my opinion, showing a little bit of weakness there because he didn't take completely Pakistan. But I think this is telling that so much effort in Europe is telling me that Stryker actually has Europe. Otherwise, he probably would have gone for a coup into Pakistan at the comfort, especially having China card. But he just spends 2-4, so he must be up rich, very up rich.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And I guess if Michael has Europe, I would look for him to take Spain, Portugal pretty quickly. And Patrick with one into Egypt, he has Nasser, so obviously no danger there. And there goes Middle East scoring. So scored for a draw here on turn one for Michael. The VP track still even. So not a lot of ops here in Patrick's hand. He certainly doesn't want to trigger AI war without taking one of these other countries here.
Yeah,
So it's second
it,
in Egypt, one in Lebanon, despite Middle East being
it
already scored. Just
feels
doesn't want to
really
give up that
bad.
2 VP.
It feels really bad for sure to do this right now, especially after Middle East score. The threat is completely empty. There is nothing on it. I maybe would like to see a coup to protect Pakistan and be able to take Thailand, especially having Vietnam revolts. But oof, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a little bit tough. I don't know if he wants Stryker to coup Pakistan because he has the
Oh
war.
my God, you see
And
another
Stryker's
four. Yeah, I think three
yeah,
fours already on striker hand.
3 fours already, and Patrick has no fours and is only 3 socialist governments. Obviously, that'll be held for blockade. But yeah, certainly Patrick would like to get into Thailand here.
All right, he's
And so the
protected now.
Nasser coup.
He's
Yep, that's
protected
exactly
now.
what you said, Pedro, is that Patrick wants to get that coup off and he fails the roll. So now the Asian battlegrounds are protected, but unless there's one more coup, DEFCON's going to go up to 4, and you could see a big China card coup next turn by Stryker.
We'll see. I don't know if Stryker he'll probably force it go down to 2 so he can control the mill ups and try to get some extra advantage. But we'll see. Uh,
Yes.
what is interesting is like of that play of the AI. Okay, he goes into Thailand, kind of predictable at this point. What is interesting about that AI play is he had Nasser, so he knew he had to play it. So that's gonna force him to go with 2 to Egypt anyway, so he doesn't lose Libya immediately.
Yep. Yes.
Uh,
I I like that play, and yeah, I like securing West Germany here because otherwise a Suez headline could leave you presenceless in Europe, which would obviously be a big problem for Patrick.
For sure. That's actually quite important. He has to secure something in Europe here. I think defending domination is gonna be hard, especially because he doesn't have basically any ops. Like he's gonna have to put probably one on Thailand, and then he's gonna have one up with out of Vietnam revolts, and that's it.
Yeah, that is all he has here, and certainly you'd love to have the luxury of being able to space Vietnam revolts, but he can't here. He desperately needs the ops. And I would still be worried about a turn two Suez headline into Europe scoring. So I sure would like to see Patrick put one into West Germany here. Looks like Stryker may not have the ops under purge to take Spain, Portugal, and take domination though. Pedro, do you think we'll see a coup here of Iran potentially or Egypt to get DEFCON down to two? Do you think, or do you think that Stryker is more than happy to let DEFCON go to four so we can get off a big Asian coup on turn two?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. I personally would like Michael to go down just so he can control the mellops he just saw in Indo-Pakistani be played into Thailand. So that means if he lowers the DEFCON down, he automatically is gonna have control over the mellops.
Yes. So Truman Doctrine takes out one from France, but of course Michael still has access. He could go right back in if he wanted, or you could see a coup here. Oh,
He's
he's
gonna
just
let it
gonna.
go to four, so we might see a cow counter coup. Probably he'll try to get the China guard coup into Thailand, unless well, I mean he doesn't know, but he's probably gonna be overprotected right now. Oh
Yes.
no,
So
he's going to
Patrick.
give it. Okay, he wants to protect it, so he's gonna just go to space.
Yep. So Patrick had to hold socialist governments for blockade. Now that it is AR6, he's going to go to space and he's going to miss the
And he
roll.
missed a roll. Oh,
So a couple of VPs over to Stryker for Millops, and Patrick draws Europe scoring and Suez Crisis. So he is certainly not happy that Europe scoring is coming out on turn two, but very happy that he drew it and Suez Crisis. So he's certainly not going to get away with presenceless here.
and containment is gonna make his hand a little easier. Not a ton of ops in the hand, but because I mean, what I mean is containment is not going to give him a ton of ops. Why? Because Europe scoring is going to take one of his action rounds, and Capture a Scientist is almost definitely going to be played for the event for 1 BP only. So that means that at max, he will looking at 4 ops coming out of containment, barely one more than the card itself. The problem is there is nothing else to play on headline right here. You could play Captain as a Scientist, but only 1 BP on it. So
Yeah, not a great headline. You could think about headlining Europe scoring with socialist governments in the discard and Suez in your hand to just get it out for three VPs. But he may be intent on fighting for Europe. So I like the containment headline here by Patrick.
I think it's gonna be a really uphill battle for him to defend Europe, but let's see if he can pull it off. Now he's gonna have ops available, like he has gonna have a lot of ops if he wants it. Uh, a lot in the sense that they're substantial, except for Suez. Let's say that he keeps capturing a scientist and he doesn't invent it, so we're looking at Suez is gonna give him one op available. That's 4 on Warsaw, that's 5 total. 5 plus 4, 9, 12, and Vietnam will force him play one at least. So that's 11 ops total. It's a
Yeah.
decent amount.
Yeah.
Romanian is gonna
Romanian
give the
application.
domination
Yep.
instantly.
Patrick does have independent reds, but I doubt he'll be interested in triggering the event here. There's seems like there's many more important things to
Es-
do than that.
Especially after he has the. We're gonna see the Queen Talon here. All right. For now, Vietnam Revolts is absolutely free. There's he said it's gonna
I
have to.
imagine Vietnam Revolt gets held to AR6 for blockade and then just played harmlessly would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So I like securing these countries here.
Is that's really not a problem. Asia, the only problem is like it's another region that you're not gonna dominate. So he still is in the realm of I can protect this if I want to. You can just take India, Pakistan. You know, Pakistan is already gone, so that's not a problem. You take Japan, uh, Pakistan, and India, and you'll be fine. Now, your domination chances are going away as Korea War is still in the deck, and uh, it would be a lot of investment just to fight for all of those. But we'll see.
Yeah, this Asia is looking very much like a draw here. Whether Stryker has it or not, I don't see either side getting domination.
I definitely would like to see Patrick going and try to put a little bit of influence in Asia. He has the spread right now. He's reached the areas, but he hasn't invested yet on the battlegrounds. I understand that his priority it's in Europe. There is a big urgency there with the scoring in hand, but you know, Striker could have Asia right now, for all we know.
Yep, and it looks like Patrick is going to be willing to give up Milops for an Iran or Egypt coup
Oh,
if Stryker
absolutely.
wants it, and in order to secure those three battlegrounds. So a four up on AR1 to secure West Germany, France, and Pakistan, three very important countries. Certainly a good play.
The like with in this, if assuming that Striker is gonna drop Defcon here, which wouldn't be anything crazy. Oh, there we see CIA, Marshall Plan, blockade, destall, UN intervention, NORA, and special relationship.
So that's a
Uh,
pretty strong hand. I would expect to
really
see
strong
D-stall
hand.
pretty quickly.
And UN intervening Marshall Plan is big. It's basically gonna secure Europe quite quickly.
Yes, certainly.
Yep.
Patrick bemoaning his lack of four ops, although, of course, Patrick does have two remaining four ops in his hand because of containment, and he'll get an extra op off of CIA created here. But that is a lot of ops sitting in Michael's hand, and with Marshall Plan about to get UN, I don't think that Patrick would have any hope of preventing a Europe domination here.
It's gonna be difficult for sure. Like right now, he's sitting at 4-3, with a little bit of a heads up in Canada. Canada is right now basically a two-step country for the game purposes, or now and mostly always. Um, but we'll see. I guess it's gonna depend on the Mediterranean countries that it always does. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
boy, I'm not sure I like this move by Patrick to go into Angola. I think it's just going to get cooed immediately.
He probably is, but he is
Yeah.
protecting. But he's okay. So this, in my opinion, this is a really good move. So he's basically
Really? Okay.
offering, do you want to? It's a the Colombia walk. So his
Yep.
idea is here you offer a coup, but if you want to take the coup, you're gonna have to let me go into Venezuela. If you don't want to go into, if you want to take the coup into Colombia, okay, we'll take the coup into Colombia. But you're taking the coup in Colombia with the CIA, that is a one, and I'm gonna counter coup you with something bigger. So you had the heads up there.
Yep. Yeah, that does make sense. And then would you expect here that Stryker would de-stall and put two into Brazil?
Um, Probably he has to go quick if he wants to get that he will have to put probably two into Brazil, one into Chile. That's what I would expect.
Yeah, two Brazil, one Chile, and then you've got one to play with, maybe Nigeria, maybe Algeria, maybe Mexico.
Also, the whole idea of the Colombia thing is he doesn't want to give mill-ups. He wants the 2BP, right? So he's going to avoid queuing into non-battlegrounds so he can keep controlling those two VPs as long as he can. He obviously at some point is gonna have to give it up so he can have domination on the mid-world regions. But right now, you know,
Yeah, as early in my Twilight Struggle career, that is something that I kind of ignored. I was like, well, it's just two VP, but two VP on turn two, two VP on turn three. That's a Middle East domination that you're just giving
yep,
up on
it's
on
better.
those mill ops. So they add up. So
Yep.
yeah, I like Stryker's idea to leave Colombia alone, go ahead and coup Angola,
Also,
take the African country and allow Patrick into South America.
the genius of Patrick is he knows what's on the hand, right? He knows that distal. He knows that he has to go there, otherwise he's never gonna go there. If he doesn't go now and take the role on the coup war, on the potential coup war on Colombia, the other option is just getting distal and getting control into South America immediately.
Yep.
So good heads up play there on Patrick's side.
Yeah, essentially trading the African access for the South American access.
He's
And of
basically
course, those African
playing.
battlegrounds are a little more easily flipped.
He's basically paying 2 EP for access to South America. That's what he's doing.
Yep. Yep. And I think probably a worthwhile trade.
Absolutely.
So Stryker, no doubt thinking about his D stall here, right? I think that's probably what is making him
Probably.
take his extra time.
I don't see how much there is that he can actually debate here. Like he needs to take Brazil to stop the advance of Patrick. And the other point, I guess you could not put it into Chile. That's and put it into Mexico if you want. But I probably like Chile better. You cannot rely on Allende of coming out. Like he might not come out until turn 7, and you need to get that access. It's easier for the U.S. to just walk into the southern part of South America because of the action round 7. You can just go into Uruguay in action round 7. Okay, here we come with the start desalinization.
So to Brazil. Oh, he's
Oh,
emptying out Romania
that's he's not going with
and
two into Brazil. So this is
just
his
one into
moment.
Brazil.
Yep. We that's
So that's a break for
that's
Patrick.
probably
He's
what he
getting
was
away with a
actually
neutral
looking at.
Europe.
I
Yeah.
he was probably looking where do I get these points out from, and Patrick saw the little opening and boom, there you go. This could have been really tough for Patrick to defend, and he's gonna get away with it.
Yeah. Okay. So in here now you're going to get the four ops, and so certainly he'll fill. Stryker will fill Brazil. Where else will he go? Yep, Brazil and South Korea taking that third Asian battleground.
Absolutely. It's interesting there. Yeah, Brazil is not a priority right now, right? Like it's not a region that is in contention. So he prioritized um, Argentina overtaking Brazil. I think that's something that I probably would ask him at the end of the show.
Yeah.
If I could, because we don't have Michael Sago on Discord today, so it's gonna be difficult. But it's something interesting for sure. Also, he might have thought a lot about taking Romania out. He has to have thought a lot about it.
Yeah, and didn't want to take anything out of Thailand with five in there. So I
He
think that is interesting,
yeah,
certainly. But
could have
that's
taken
so a little bit of a tough call.
two from Thailand and two from Poland could have been my choice. He already seen East European unrest, so I don't know.
Okay, so Patrick getting a four op here, getting Warsaw out of the deck, securing India, getting into Burma.
Getting the reinforcement there. NATO is
Yep,
out, so special relationship is gonna be not as strong.
pretty harmless. Get that fourth into France, and Michael already with Italy, so he's not that worried about it. And yep, securing Egypt and Laos.
Capturing ascent display 4 ups. You don't see this a lot.
Yeah, I guess you don't see it a lot, but for two ops
2 ups or
versus
one
one
BP.
VP, it's a
It,
little bit easier trade.
yeah, absolutely. So
Especially with Asia, the only unscored region, want to make sure you secure those extra countries because he's not gonna play into Japan.
and you're sort of safe. Like right now, you're at 5. He's at 4. You have Indonesia. He has Vietnam. So that's tit for tat. If it worst come to worst, you can just fill up Japan and be done with it.
Yeah, if you need to, but it looks like he probably
Space.
is not going to need to.
A success, so he's gonna have a second shot if he wants it. I don't think that he needs a second shot.
Yeah, and with this
That's
being the last round, I think you'd want to take I don't think I'd want to leave the country count in Asia even with worried about a potential decall headline. So I'd want to take at least Indonesia, maybe Philippines as well
he definitely will go
with
for
these
it
three
for
ops.
Philippines. Um, let's see. He has one stab at a control country if he wants it.
Yep. So the Brazil poke is an interesting play. I sometimes play a little bit too conservatively in Twilight Struggle, and I would be worried here about a decall headline into an immediate Asia scoring. But I guess there really isn't that much Patrick could do about it
Yeah,
if that were to be the case, because Stryker could conceivably just break 4 countries and then score it. So I don't know.
he couldn't break 4.
Probably, yeah.
He could only break Burma, Philippines, and Indonesia. But you're right. Like that would put him. That would put USSR at 5-2-3. So there is really not a lot that he can do right now, unless he wants to break South Korea. If he breaks South Korea, that will work as a defensive move. But that doesn't gain in points. Just prevents a particular play in which a striker could. Assuming he has both Deco and Asia, he could get domination. I
Yes.
think Patrick is rolling the dice on getting one of the two, and he gets decolonization. So that particular play is not possible.
Nope.
That can
So
cover will be really strong headline here, although it kind of defeats the purpose of the action on 6 that he just made. Maybe we'll see a red scare perch for that reason. I don't know. Let's see what Patrick goes for.
yeah, picking up those 3 VPs would be nice. Stryker does have Asia scoring, I think. Unless he has Indo-Pak War, do you think we could see him dump it in the headline?
That would be
So Korean
interesting
War
for
and
sure.
yeah,
We
Korean War
know
and decall both in Patrick's hands. Certainly, he will not be triggering decall at all. And so
we might
it
see the
looks like
Korean
Asia's going to be
War.
a draw no matter what. Yep.
We might see the Korean War going off. He blockade is still in Striker's hand. We haven't seen it play, if I'm not incorrect.
You are
So
correct.
that means Swift Crisis cannot be played. He has to keep it. And the Red Skirt Perch is going to be the headline. So Dagon Cover is probably one of the strongest turn 3 headlines that there are. But being known um, just makes it a little less impactful.
So socialist government's the headline for Stryker. Not able to make Patrick presenceless in Europe, but will be able to take here out of multiple countries.
Yeah, it will be taking a lot for sure.
Yes, and a Stryker being purged for the second time. No doubt not too much fun in the early war.
Yeah, nobody likes to get purged once, but let alone twice. Okay, removing access from Italy. The problem is they already have Italy.
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll see a brush war there in Italy early. We'll see. NATO's not active, so
Yep. And Stryker collecting his mill ops and cooing Brazil. So Patrick doesn't wind up with Brazil. He doesn't wind up getting the coup, but he does protect Libya. He protects Iran, protects Venezuela. So still a good move there from Patrick to end turn two.
Absolutely. Like that's a risk that you take. That your opponent is just gonna coup the country that you just broke. When you make those moves into the middle regions, still a good move. I don't think that was a mistake at all.
No, no, not at all.
I would like to see some action going into Mexico. I personally believe that Mexico is one of those countries that the U.S. should take on 2 and 3 if they have the mail-ups. Um, okay, putting a little bit of protection in Europe, taking a little bit of country count. I think it's still gonna be really difficult for Patrick to defend Europe because Turkey and Greece are gonna be on the red side. But
Yeah, so Turkey and Greece will go to the red side, and that would make the country count 5-5, assuming that Patrick then takes Canada, and then it's just a fight for the three stabs if
exactly.
Michael decides he wants to fight for
So
domination.
it's a matter of who has the ops to win that war. It rarely goes to that. These players are both really good, so they know that's a really ineffective way of playing. You don't want to be too invested into the non-battlegrounds, but if they both start thinking that the other guy has this scoring of Europe, then we might see some craziness going on the non-battlegrounds. I've seen that happen before.
Yeah, I've definitely seen those games where Eastern Europe is all filled up. So Stryker's still holding on to Asia scoring. Would you think about oh, and you know what? I'm sorry, Pedro. Is Michael also have 5-year plan here?
He should, yes.
So Asia scoring still one VP for Stryker, but he could also 5-year plan it if he didn't want to hold that into the mid-war. CIA is out though, so not so much of a danger.
Yeah, CIA is out. He still has 2 spaces to go, so I don't anticipate him using it early. He also something to take into account is he doesn't have any region right now that he's losing. So there is no target for fire plan,
Yep,
which
nothing
could be a
for Stryker to be
reason
worried about.
why he doesn't want to keep it, but he could use it to, get rid of OAS, get rid of other cards. So
Yep, and I like the play there by Stryker just to dump Asia scoring, get the one VP. And so I guess for the rest of the turn, I would like to see Patrick take Mexico. I'd like to see him take Panama and probably Algeria as well. Would
absolutely.
you agree, or would you do something else?
No, Algeria very important, Mexico very important, and uh, take Panama for sure. I would say, yeah, I would definitely put that domination into Central America on the action round 7.
Yeah, and
Action round
get
6 in this
Guatemala.
turn. Yeah, get Guatemala. Do you have the ops there? That can cover. Yeah, you have the ops. That can cover. Can take Panama and Mexico, and then just need one of the 2 points of Cambridge 5 to get the domination there. You could even go into if you have the time, you can go into Costa Rica and then do both Nicaragua and Guatemala. That way, if they decide to open with a coup in Nicaragua, with a coup, you can use Nicaragua to realign Cuba on the first action round and remove it from Central America completely.
Yeah, I do like that play. And
Let's see.
Patrick
Boom,
looks like he's
boom.
reaching for a 3-op to take
Yeah,
Panama and Algeria, as expected. Pedro, would you give up Korean War here, or would you think about giving Suez? I think I might just get rid of Korean War
I
because you can't
probably,
space it.
yeah, I'll probably give Korean War here. It's not the best odds, honestly. I would like to have Japan before I give it, but Suez is gonna be an empty action round, and Korean War is on average 1 BP loss. So 1 BP for having 2 ops, I think, is something that it's okay.
Yeah, I think that's a worthwhile trade for sure.
If USSR didn't have mail-ups, I would definitely not do it. I would force them to go into Colombia if they want mail-ups. But
Yes. So Michael is going to be okay. There goes blockade for influence. So Michael's going to be up 9 points, perhaps 11, coming out of the early war. That is a big lead for Michael, and so I think Patrick's going to need to hope he draws some ops and maybe some scary events on turn 4 to
Yeah,
try and get back into this one.
absolutely to do this around. He's gonna need some help from the deck. Not looking good, but this game goes goes around many ways. Um, we have frozen. Are we frozen here?
Yeah, I'm not able
Yep.
to see what's going on here.
Okay, it's back. We had like a little bit of a technical hiccup there. Probably Patrick's internet. I see the clock running. Um, he finished Mexico, right?
Yep. So Mexico, Panama, and Algeria, just as we speculated.
Hmm.
So there isn't a region other. I would say he's Patrick at least has a foothold in every region. There isn't any region on the board where Patrick is hopelessly behind, but there's also no place on the board right now where Patrick is getting points and is in a position to kind of claw back some of those VPs. So he just, ABM, Brush, Junta, he's going to need some of those big events to claw back in here.
Yep, absolutely. I think Brush War, who gets Brush War, who gets ABM, and Junta will be key for how this game develops. I think Middle East is gonna go blue. Like just thinking on like possible cards that will be coming out. I think Middle East will turn blue at some point, probably with Sadat coming out. Will put us at 3-1. That will probably make it difficult for Stryker um, to do anything about that. Also, Muslim could come out as well, but Muslim will not wipe him out completely because he could potentially wipe him out from Libya, but not from Iran. Or if he decides to, it's just not super efficient. I doubt that he will go that way. So I probably will see Middle East blue. I think Asia is completely deadlocked. I don't see anything happening unless I'm lucky IB War. But IB War is basically at sixes at this point, so not very likely that his actually succeeds.
And
Uh,
with Asia scored, probably unlikely it will be evented unless Patrick needs mill ops.
Correct, but you never know because like US is able to steal coups on headline, and USSR might want just to take the role just to get mail-ups instead of doing some coup and some random battleground.
Yep.
We don't know, but I would assume that Asia would stay in that lock. Central America is looking good for blue. South America is looking very red. But like I said, Africa and South America right now are going red, but they are one coup away from going into um, to the blue side or to even. So
Yep. Yeah, the timing of some of those events. So Muslim Revolution, you mentioned, Sadat, you mentioned, and how they correspond with when Middle East scoring comes out is going to go a long way to determining the fate of the Middle East. And yeah, one coup in Africa, one coup in South America, or maybe a nice realign of Cuba could really shake things up in the mid-war regions.
yeah, I definitely would like to see some action in Cuba. Getting that control of Central America could give him a little breather. But he has to get rid of that pesky Fidel Castro in Cuba. So let's see if Pix Bay is actually successful this time.
Stryker thinking a long time about this AR6 play. Wonder what he's considering here. Maybe going into Saudi Arabia, filling up Chile.
We know he has a fire plan, but we don't know what the other car is. I haven't been tracking that closely. I cannot think of any uh, car in particular.
I think we've seen the big guys.
Yeah, I'm
So
trying to think. Okay, we're gonna see right now what he has there on the other because he's playing. So let's see what he's discarding right now. Europe. There we go. Was a redraw, so we couldn't know.
interesting.
Uh,
Europe redraws, so gives up the one VP to take the three ops. Probably a good trade
yeah.
in the early war. This is interesting. Patrick reaching for the China card, looking for realigns instead of triggering the Korean War or Suez.
That's quite interesting. It's normal for the US to give up the China card. because they have two cards that will give it back, right? But like I said, very important. Patrick is thinking, where can I get inroads? So where can I get my points back to go back into the game? And that's what probably the easiest one. Getting
Yeah,
control of
and
Central America
so
right now.
yeah, and the real line of Cuba does pay off. So he gives up the China card, but in exchange empties out Cuba.
He gets two
So
VPs
is
out
there
of
gonna?
that.
Yep.
Just out of doing that is actually more, right? Because it's one for the battleground, one for um, adjacency,
Adjacency,
and one
and
for presence. So that's three VPs that he just won right there.
yep, yeah. So unless Michael is able to quickly get a liberation out or a junta, something of that nature, that'll be a big swing in Patrick's favor. And look, just as you said, two cards that can get the China card back. Usuri finds its way into Patrick's hand, so he can take it right back if he wants. Although I guess I kind of like Colonial Rearguards a little bit as a headline as well. Threaten Zaire, even though Nigeria and Angola are overprotected. Nuclear subs could also be great here
I would like nuclear
with
subs
those
here.
three African battlegrounds just kind
Yeah,
of sitting there. So I think nuclear subs could be a good play.
yeah. You could get a control of Africa here with just with the force of nuclear subs. Do you have indeed enough to because Korean War is not super good, but Korean War is gonna give you one of those two one stab, right?
For
I would
sure.
like to
And
see.
OPEC's not a disaster, only 2 points.
Eh, correct. You could potentially use it to break and just give one BP, or
Yep.
you could just space it. So we'll see. I mean, Suez is probably the most problematic one, as you have to repair. It's kind of an empty action round, and you will lose the one in Israel probably. I don't know. We'll see. Kitchen debate just probably gonna be another coup in Africa. I don't think that we're gonna see active. Brezhnev will probably just take Cuba on the last
Yep.
action
Brezhnev to
round.
take
Okay, so
Cuba. And there is Captured Nazi Scientist to pick up another two VPs for Michael. So he goes up to 11. And so
I
nuclear
can
subs, the
guarantee
headline.
you that Stryker does not have Central America. Otherwise, he would have played right now before he fills up Cuba.
Yes, Central America would have been the headline if
Keep
he had it,
if
especially
we
because he
have
just got rid of 5 year plan.
if you have Junta or Liberation Theology, those are definitely better headlines, as he has all the time in the world to basically play Nazi Captain Scientist. Those two VPs were his anyway.
Yep.
Um, and not having any of those cards, that only the only ones that can give him access to Central America at this point, definitely would have just headline and get rid of it. Unless he's
Yeah,
planning
and
to coup there, but we'll see. If he's not cooing into Central America, I can guarantee you he doesn't have it.
yeah, and he doesn't have Africa scoring as well because seeing a nuclear subs headline, I certainly would think that Stryker, if he had Africa scoring, would be playing it immediately, dumping it for the 1 point. Do you think Stryker takes his coup right away despite the nuclear subs headline, or do you think he waits to
No,
respond in Africa?
he probably waited out. It's like he's gonna turn into a little bit of a game of a chicken. So nobody wants to get the first coup because the other one is gonna get the second one. So, but let's see. Um, whatever Stryker does now is gonna give us a little window into what's going on in his hand. He
Yeah.
goes with big guys. He's okay. He might actually have Central America, or things that Patrick does have it, because that's a bold move.
Yeah, that is a big play. You need a nice roll there, and certainly he does get it. So Central America now at a draw.
Uh, I think
And
I think you have to go now into Africa. Yep.
I think I would just ignore that and just and start going to town in Africa. And indeed, that's exactly what Patrick does, flipping over Nigeria and now leads in battlegrounds there 3-2.
Let's see. Is he gonna dump now? Because that's probably it. He has a
Stryker has it. Yeah, it's not getting any. Central America is not getting any better for
the
Stryker.
problem with scoring here is you give another round for Patrick to keep cooing without doing anything. And you probably want to be proactive here. You want to start making him, forcing him to make choices. Do you want to keep cool in Africa? Okay, great, but I'm gonna take this instead. So it depends on, like, I don't know, maybe breaking Iran, for example.
Yep. Yep. An
Uh,
Iran break, a Libya break, at least spreading out of Zaire so you could set up potential realigns, something of that nature, maybe breaking Venezuela, just divert attention away from Africa.
exactly. Breaking Venezuela is a good one because he would potentially threaten control of South America, which would be, or coup in Colombia. Coup in Colombia would be interesting because he's threatening the realignment in Venezuela immediately and dominate instant domination in South America. So,
Yep. And Brazil's already very strong at 4. I don't think Patrick is going to waste time cooing it.
yep, let's see. Because if he's cooing, if Stryker can get a coup war going into Colombia, then he's not losing grounds into Africa, and he might have potential time later to fix it.
Yep. So Stryker's got to create some,
Yeah,
yeah,
he does
and
have Central America scoring. So that's the reason why he didn't headline it. He wanted to get that big coup into Mexico, and he succeeded. I will go into Zaire with only a 1.
yep, I
Boom.
like that play, and that is what Patrick does. So
And
Stryker down to a single battleground in Africa.
as predicted, giving scoring right there, giving Patrick's time to fix. Okay, he lost the Central America domination, but or the Central America potential control. But now he's looking at potential control of Africa that is so much better than control of Central America. So when a door closes, a window opens, right? Patrick,
Indeed.
go ahead.
Yes, so 4-1 now is the battleground count in Africa, and then I'm wondering maybe if Patrick's feeling lucky if he takes a shot maybe down in Argentina later in the turn if he's able to take Africa control. We'll see.
I mean, Brezhnev will give him it's free 3 ops on turn 7, right? So we'll see if he wants to, he's feeling lucky, or if he wants to just cover his bases. The thing is, at this point, almost every battleground is completely overrun. Taking Cuba doesn't make any sense anymore, even though, um, I mean, Ortega is really far away. You basically can space at. You haven't even gone to space yet successfully. So, um, and he doesn't even have access to the other battleground that is untaken or untouched. That is Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some cooing, some crazy cooing. Going with a 3 into Argentina with no previous access, and your opponent having access is unlikely that give you a success, but you might roll as well if you don't have anything better.
Yeah, with the big roll in Brezhnev, so if in order to get access, rolling with a 3, you'd have to have a 4, and so 50-50 chance to at least get access down there, if not steal the country.
Hmm.
So we said that Patrick's going to need some big scary events,
Oh, there
and
goes the
he
arms race,
he
three
he
VPs.
got one. So arms race, and now the VP counter getting a little bit uncomfortable here for Patrick.
Interesting that he's going with the Suez instead of, uh, but at this point, okay, Usuri, that's not get the control. Um, is there a chance that Michael Stryker just takes it here? He needs South America scoring, and he needs Colombia for that, or Uruguay. But
Yeah.
one small step
So this is going to
coup.
be Colombia.
Yep, he cannot let that go. He has to coup back if he has South America, and he gives it away. He has to take the
Yeah.
coup, even though okay, Rosa 5, that's good enough.
Yeah. Well, Colonial Rearguard's not usually a fantastic event on turn 4. Now not great with the U.S. controlling Africa, so
And
perfectly fine to let that go on the coup.
and also pretty lost on Thailand, so Southeast Asia is not gonna be super affected. So it's good to just uh, could have avoided. I'm sorry. Yeah, you could have definitely. Okay,
Oh.
so that's another
Successful
space.
space race roll. So Stryker now with headline peak and probably more importantly, an opportunity to space for 3 VP on the next AR if he's got a
He's
candidate in
probably
his
gonna have to
hand.
space OPEC here or a Korean War. He cannot afford to give any of them.
No.
He's gonna have
Yeah.
to space.
He's gonna have to space one, hold the other.
Yeah. And the reason why he cannot afford this is because he's already at 15 BPs. You can every single BP here is gonna count. Okay, he gets
Okay.
one. So that's gonna give him a little breather because South America it's 5 BPs when you when you dominate through one. So that will not give him instant victory, even if he gets dominated. Right now he's safe. Africa will basically bring it back into the game. 11 BPs right now will basically put him at 3. In the mid war, that's not a biggie, especially with Middle East potentially turning blue at some point. Um, Portuguese Empire crumbles, coup into Colombia.
Okay, and he misses to give Patrick a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, he's probably gonna have
So,
to. Uh,
Pedro, do you think that that Patrick will want to take an African non-battleground or two to prevent against a battleground flip and then an immediate scoring for what would then just be 3 points, so he at least gets domination? Or do you think he's just not worried about that right now?
I think he has bigger worries into South America. I don't think
Yep.
he can spend the luxury have the luxury of thinking about the only card that could basically break on headline and dump would be South African Unrest because we saw Portuguese Empire crumbles.
Yes, you're right. You're right about that. So he's just going to repair Suez, and then I would assume we would see an AR-7 coup into Argentina.
Potentially, let's see how he decides to go. But yeah, I think probably that's the best play here, pressure into Argentina.
So a striker going to be able to create a threat here, or
Some
salt for
negotiations,
influence, and he's going
overprotection,
to beef it up
and
and
gets a
take
domination.
beefs it up, takes domination, and threatens the real line if indeed you coup Argentina.
It's a
And it looks
great,
like Patrick's going to probably do it anyway.
quite crazy good. I mean, if he gets one there, that's enough. It's enough to give himself. Up.
Oh, and a miss.
Yep. If he gets one there, that kind of give it's an action. It's a successful action round 7, right? Like you have one guy there, and with 3 ups, you might take Argentina unprotected with Paraguay. Um, Decent hand, not bad. Missile MB is a good headline.
Yep.
Safe because you know that that can cover is already gone. A lot of
Perhaps less
big
effective because
force.
Stryker will see it, but yes, Missile Envy safe here and probably the right play.
Uh, a little scary, but you know that he cannot give you that can cover, so you should be fine. CIA, no, what am I thinking? Yeah, I think it's perfectly safe. The only and there are a lot of for red flower power, Muslim Rev, um,
Obviously,
uh,
ABM and Red Scare sitting there as well.
will bury you. Red
Yep.
Scare was played on June 3, so it's not there.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yep. Yes, of course. Stryker was purged twice in the early war.
Yep. If he wants to go more conservatively, he could just play the Pope. Uh,
Yeah, the Pope just doesn't. The problem with the Pope is it doesn't really force a response, given that Europe is scored.
yep.
I like the missile envy play here, even though Stryker can see it. Like you said, it's perfectly safe. Stryker can respond to it, but I think missile envy would be my play here.
He can manage it for sure. Like he can just, like if he has ABM, he would just put it immediately on headline so he doesn't get stolen, etc. But Cuban Missile Crisis is also good. Yeah, he just has to go Cuban Missile Crisis because he's gonna lower DEFCON, prevent him from queuing and getting mill ups. So that's probably gonna be important that he doesn't keep growing his advantage, and it will allow you to take a coup and gain mill-ups and reduce the distance by 2.
Yes. So
And
Cuban
he's
Missile
thinking
Crisis
about
would
the
be an
missile
interesting
envy.
play. I see. I like Missile Envy because I just want to hope that the USSR has two great four ops here that Michael has ABM and Muslim Revolution, something like that, to where he's going to have to give up something great.
I mean, at this point, the game is not looking super great. Africa will bring you back. And you know it's 5-year plan free, but Africa is going to bring you back right now, but you don't know what's going to happen in 2 turns if it comes on turn 7. So let's see. I Depending on where the coup goes, if it goes anywhere. The good thing about Cuban Missile Crisis is also protects Africa. It protects the control of Africa. So maybe that's why I'm kind of leaning into that one over the Missile MB play. Uh, Protecting Africa is key for you to surviving and potentially winning this game.
Yes, certainly that is really important, and it's also Patrick's certainly hoping that Stryker has Africa in his hand, and if he does, Cuban Missile Crisis is a great play. But he does go with Missile Envy, and I like this play personally from Patrick. Let's see what Stryker's got.
There's something true to be said about this play. When you're behind, high variance play are the ones that are gonna maybe bring you back into the game. If you just play minimum risk when you're losing, you're probably gonna just continue losing. Slowly, but you're gonna continue losing. Big variance is the way that you come back into a game that is actually lost. So let's see. 30-minute 30-minute clock on 30 minutes of time consumed on Patrick's clock, and almost the same in Striker's clock. So this game, by previous agreement of the players, is gonna go to 1 hour and 10 minutes instead of only 1 hour. There we go. We will bury you. So we'll probably will see him stealing a 3 instead of. Okay, at least he got 3 ups out of that. It's not super bad.
Yeah, and that is probably not what Patrick was looking for, and so Patrick does not have UN intervention, so he's going to give up 3 VPs here, and then Michael will have an opportunity to space for the win.
No, this. Oh yeah, correct. Space for the win. That is correct.
So if Michael has South America scoring, the game is over. If not, I would expect a space race attempt right here.
Yep. I think if he had South America scoring, he would have already played it. I think he's probably just thinking what if he wants to send to space, or if he wants to just keep pressuring. I mean, he can. There is no pressure to space. He can space at any time for those 3 VPs. But
Correct. Even if Patrick had one small step, he would be able to space.
Yeah, the only
at his
thing that
leisure.
Stryker might be thinking is if I don't space right now, he might have some card that would give him instant BPs, and that would screw me over. Like a Brass War, for example. Brass War into Brazil right now could be devastating for Michael.
Yes, and so the fact that Stryker played We Will Bury You decided signals that he would rather have the 3 VP than the coup in Africa. So certainly Stryker doesn't have Africa scoring. Otherwise, he would have simply used We Will Bury You or Missile Envy for a coup. And
Correct.
so Stryker
Well,
doesn't have.
that could also mean that he doesn't have any of the 4 and he doesn't want to give ups on headline. So
Well, he did have U.S.
yeah,
He
he
did have
has.
U.S. So he could have given U.S. Japan and then
Yeah,
cooed with Missile Envy and
that's
held on
correct.
to We Will Bury You.
Yeah, that's correct. So he definitely like you said he preferred this over the coup in Africa. So I assume that um, he doesn't have Africa or yeah, basically that because he cannot get rid of it. He doesn't have fire plan. How am I gonna return into Colombia
So
again?
interesting, going for the coup instead of the space
Space
roll.
shot.
So maybe he doesn't have anything he'd really like to space, or maybe he's just not worried about something like rush war. Okay, so Patrick decides to coup Colombia back, protect Venezuela.
Big mistake or overlooked of that arms race. Arms race giving 3 BPs, those are avoidable BPs, and he would be at 14 right now. He'd be like sort of safe if he didn't have taken that hit with arms race. He had
Yeah,
He
Yeah, it's tough
definitely,
to give that up when you have nuclear subs in play.
exactly, he had nuclear subs, he had all the goods in the world that he wanted, and somehow Stryker was able to sneak it. But on the other hand, that slow play on Michael also gave Patrick one more free turn to Queen in Africa. So
Yep, and now Michael is just hoping that that Africa scoring doesn't come out and get Patrick into the game before he gets a successful space shot or other source of VPs. So Patrick obviously needs to fill up Philippines, and that's just what he does, looking to dump Southeast Asia pretty
for
quickly.
0. Yep. He kind of does. He kind of has to. He kind of just give another BP. He's like way too close to the 20.
It's a little uncomfortable here because OPEC is two VPs, one if you use it to break. Arab-Israeli war is at this point a one-third shot at two VPs. Liberation theology, though, I don't think you can give that and give access to Cuba even for the long term. But boy, the VP tracker is just getting so uncomfortable for Patrick. You may have to do some suboptimal plays here.
Well, the thing is that he has 3 red cards, right? 2 give VPs and 1 doesn't. I think the one that doesn't is the one that's gonna have to be played. Like you don't have a lot of options here.
Yeah, yeah, you may be right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow,
That's gonna
that's
give
a
a little
big
breather.
break.
And
Yes,
Special
so
Items
that
Sylvanas now going back into the deck. So he knows. We knew for a fact that he didn't have Africa, or like we suspected that he didn't have Africa. But now he knows that he doesn't have South America. Obviously, he could have evented it and won as well. Evented South America and won. So, but now he's on the discard pile. So probably that's gonna take the pressure off Colombia. And let's see where they go now. Probably
yeah.
start to move into the Middle East, maybe.
This suggests to me that Stryker has a problem hand. Maybe he doesn't have any three ops at all. Because if it were me, I would happily even space a card like Cultural Revolution or something of that nature just to have the opportunity to win the game. So this suggests to me Stryker doesn't have anything above a two.
Um, yeah, we've only seen once like Same Panama Canal return, so that's possibly true. Yeah,
Yeah, he could be holding something like grain sales. Could be holding something like puppet governments. Some good U.S. cards that still haven't come out.
there goes to
Yeah,
space
there's the
race,
cultural first space.
and he gets it. Boom,
Oh,
that's
and
it.
he gets it. So that is the ball game. And Stryker with the victory.